Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and my name is Syafawati. So, as the topic mentioned, Apple has issued their 14 billion bond in early February 2021 that matured in another 40 years. Any corporate company will tend to issue the bond as they are on their way to raise their business capital, while for the government usually used to settle down all the government debts. But how does it work? The bond issue will happen when the investor agree to give a particular amount to a corporation or companies or even government for a set of period. Aside from that, most of the bond issuance are kept for a lengthy period of time that usually more than 10 years. And most of them choose to issue the bond as it will lead to having an attractive compared to a company that borrows from the bank, as they can pay a low interest compared to the interest charged by the bank.
Okay, so as what we can see, bond with borrowing rates linked to climate change have seen a rise in sales in this year. Okay, so Apple used the market to raise the $40 billion in bonds to fund its business. So according to Apple prospectus, so the proceeds will be used for the general commercial purpose such as share purchase, dividend payment, capital investment, acquisition, and also debt repayment. So before that, my name is Aina Mardiah in Azmi, and I would like to explain what is the problem is going on. So Apple has launched its debt offering on February of 2021. So it stated that it will be issued in 5 installments to fund its corporate activities such as I have stated earlier. So given that the company operating cash flow far exceed its current shareholder equities, large amount of cash and securities deposit of $196 billion. So some experts are baffled by the issuance of the ownership. So the point out that the newly issued 5-year maturity bonds have 0.7% rates of return, which is higher than Apple's 0.6% dividend yields. So at first, replacing stock to the bond yield seems more expensive than replacing stock to cash and saving today. However, because of the interest payment are tax deductible, so the cost of this after-tax borrowing is lower than the stock's dividend yields. So the dividend are not deductible, but makes sense from an economic standpoint.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Amirah Athileah, and today I will talk about the investment objective. Every investment have its own objective, same goes with bond. So most of the company will issue their bond to raise fund to fulfill their financial obligation. So as we can see right here, as for Apple, they wish to raise fund to be used for their general corporate purposes such as for share buyback and also dividend repayment. They also want to fund for their acquisition, working capital expenditure, and also repayment of their debt. While in domestic market, we can see Petronas also have the similar objective with Apple, which is they wish to raise fund for their general corporate purposes to refinancing their debt, optimizing their balance sheet, and also expanding their debt maturity profile.
Okay, so many people are sitting on a large sum of money that they could put to use. So as a result, many of these companies, such as Apple, are beginning to spend more on dividend and buyback more than their shares than they have for the previous year. So at the same time, so Apple financial statement as the fourth quarter of 2020 had $36 billion in cash and cash equivalent, which more than $160 billion of the security could be easily converted into the So, in the first quarters of 2021, Apple became a revenue stream and generated a record of operating cash flow of $38 billion. So, the same goes for the situation with the Petronas. Okay, Petronas mentioned. So, they have issued a bond, and the fund also same. Okay, the fund also use same purpose. Okay, with Apple, where the fund will be used for the debt refinancing. And also a general corporate purpose. So it's allowing Petronas to further optimize its balance sheets and extend the maturity profile of its debt. So Petronas total asset has increased from ringgit Malaysia 593 billion at the first quarter of 2021, up from the ringgit Malaysia of 574 billion at the end of December 2019. So owing that it increasing, to increase the cash and cash equivalent as well as for the receivables. So large companies such as Apple, Petronas must have a alternative that they can use to ensure that their company finance are at the stable level.
Well-established companies prefer to issue bond compared to apply for loan or issue their shares. During this recession, giant companies take advantage of the lower interest rate to issue bond. As we can see for Apple, they issue a $14 billion bond in 6 part and also a 40-year bond with yield with a 95 basis point. The 40-year bond with 2.55 of coupon payment will mature in 2060 have 89 basis point above Treasury. And then Petronas also take the opportunity to issue $3 billion bond into PAR, where it has a lowest coupon and tightest issue spread ever, achieved by Petronas and other company in Malaysia. The 10-year bond pricing was 42.5 basis point, while the 40-year bond with 40 basis point. The 40-year bond is the largest bond issued by Asian company and priced 22.5 basis point above 10-year bond rate.
My name is Athirah and I will give my point of view about the issue. I think Apple has made the right decision to issue the bond since the company have an excellent credit rating. High credit ratings means the company are able to pay the coupon payment and also the principal on a timely basis, and they have a lower default risk. Vice versa, if the company has a lower credit ratings. Apple has rated AA1 by Moody's due to its strong profitability, large and growing installed base of product and services, loyal customers, strong track record of innovation, and exceptional liquidity with net cash balance of nearly $84 billion. After the giant company Apple issued the bond, Petronas also followed to issue the bond that worth $3 billion. The company also has a good credit ratings, which rated A2 by Moody's due to their strong credit metrics, excellent liquidity, and they are able to maintain the net cash position through all price cycle. Since both companies have a strong credit profile, it will attract more investors to involve in the bond issuance. Investors will be more confident to involve in the bond with a long-term investment due to a lower default risk. Because of that, they are willing to receive a low interest rate. Apple received the demand worth of $33 billion, while Petronas received the demand of $7.4 billion. Maybe the bond issuance look costlier because of the cost borrowing are more than the dividend yield of the stock, but the interest expenses are tax deductible, and the result will be reversed after the deduction of the tax.
So my name is Syahmi with Fadahus. So my point of view, which is the debt regard. Apple Incorporation used the proceeds from the sale bond, which is the 40 billion, to refinance their debt. And secondly, we can see from the graph, which is the account payable of Apple was slightly decreased from $63.85 billion in 2020 to $40.13 billion in March 2021. So basically, what Apples do to launch their issue bond? Firstly, Apple borrow money from investor because low cost option, and secondly, when the investor purchase the bonds, Apple will pay the interest rate and return the fund on the said debt. Reason for Apple borrow the money because avoid from tax consequences from the United States government, and secondly, borrow lower rates to gain higher return. So this is also same with the Petronas Nasional Berhad, which is use the proceed from the April 2020 issue bond, which is 6 billion tranche that used to refinance Petronas debt.
As a conclusion, Apple has made the right decision to issue bond in order to take advantage of Federal Reserve emergency measures in response to coronavirus outbreak and a lower borrowing cost. The company also utilized it well by the share buyback, dividend payment, as well as funding working capital, capital expenditure, acquisition, and also the repayment of existing debt.
My recommendation is Apple Incorporation should hold until the stock price rise again in the future. And this is because Apple announced that quarterly dividend rise to 7% or 0.22 cent per share. And then this will increase the existing stock buyback program by $19 billion. Finally, Apple Incorporation also can issue new bonds to expand their debt offering and attract additional investors. This is because the fixed rates bond was popular and cheaper rates for the longer term periods.